Right now, we're talking NFL. We are talking to a player who played his college ball in Stanford, drafted number 89 overall back in 2019. Second on the Colts with 55 tackles and 3 tackles for a loss. Coming off an enormous game in that win over Jacksonville last week. We had 13 tackles. Another big one this week. Indy at Tennessee on Sunday. Bobby Okereke is my guest. Bobby, it's great to have you on. How are you?
Doing well, Jim. How you doing, brother?
Good, dude. Good. It's great to have you. Listen, I know you're focused.
Great to be here.
Yeah, you too. I know you're focused on Tennessee, but Bobby, take a moment, and I want to ask you about last week's big win over Jacksonville. Were they just the next team on the schedule, or honestly, did you have a little extra juice for that one since they beat you guys 24-0 in week 2?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's bad blood from that, but, another division opponent. We got our eye on a banner this year, winning that division title, and so it goes through those division games.
All right, so Bobby, you injured your hand early in that game, but you played through it, and you went on. You had an enormous game. How determined were you to play through it, and then how is it right now?
It's solid right now, but, big time. In the moment, you're just trying to win. I felt like I was playing well earlier, so I didn't want that to be the damper on my day. But, yeah, dislocated my pinky. They just kind of snapped it back, stitched it up, and had me out there by halftime, so it was great to finish the game with a win with my teammates.
I'm always amazed when you guys do that. Like, I understand you're a different breed. Like, if I dislocate my pinky, bro, I'm looking for a place to lie down and die. I mean, is adrenaline a real thing? Like, what's that like when they pop that thing back in place?
I mean, it hurts for sure, but when you're in the mentality of a game, I mean, you got your brothers there, so you don't want to let your brothers down first and foremost. And, yeah, adrenaline's real, but more than want to. You want to play, you want to make plays, you want to win. So that kind of drives you through it all.
Bobby Okereke joining us. So defensively, you guys kept the Broncos out of the end zone to seal that overtime win 2 weeks ago. Then earlier this season, you were the ones that limited Kansas City to season lows in points and yards. I bring this up because I want to ask, how much pride do you and the rest of that defense have in playing well late in games and in finishing those games?
Big time, and especially this week, unique opportunity. Tennessee, they're real good in the red zone. They like to score points. So that's a big defensive challenge for us, being able to stop them, keep them scoring to a minimum, and really help our offense win this game.
All right, speaking of Tennessee, when you think about them, you think about Derrick Henry. They often go as he goes. How does he look to you so far this season? In other words, does he look to you like he's all the way back to where he was prior to getting hurt last year?
Yeah, he looks good. He looks confident for sure. He's running hard. He's an elite competitor. So, playing through injuries, that's kind of what everybody in this league does. But I think he's doing a hell of a job this year.
Bobby, what about that? Like, I don't want to keep harping on that, but you just said it. Everybody does it. If you're in that league right now, is it just a question of when and not a matter of if? Like, you're going to get hurt, and if you know you're going to get hurt, how do you not play with that in the back of your mind? Like, how do you work through that?
Exactly. I mean, they say the injury rate in the NFL is 100%, so it's not, like you said, if, it's when. But it's really just playing through adversity. And that comes, with losing games, getting injured, teammates going down. Like, there's adversity all around football. So, the great ones are the ones who can respond and keep playing, despite all those distractions or, those external factors.
That makes sense. You talk about teammates going down. What about Shaquille Leonard? Like, that's a really good teammate. You never want to see anybody go down, but we're talking about the loss of an all-pro linebacker. He's been out for much of the season. You're one dude. It's a team effort. I get that. But when you lose somebody like that, have you taken it upon yourself to make an even bigger impact without him?
Yeah. I just got to do my job. I see myself as a playmaking, splash play linebacker, flying around sideline to sideline. So, when you got a guy like Darius who accounted for, I want to say 13 takeaways or something last year, you got to step your game up. But he's still vocal. He still has that leadership role on our defense, and he fuels us throughout the week.
All right, so everybody knows that it's a quarterback-driven league, right? But there seems to be some confusion about the roughing the passer calls. Do you and your defensive teammates talk about that very much? At this point, do you even know what's a legal hit and what's not?
Yeah, I think the clearest distinction right now is body weight, but you got to play smart. You got to know if you're playing against Tom Brady, you're playing against some of those prolific quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes. They might get some more favorable calls, but it's really just playing smart. Playing physical and, just having that accelerated vision.
Right.
It's tough, though, for sure.
Bobby Okereke is joining us. You're worried about your defense, but we're talking about quarterbacks. How good or how happy were you to see the offense light it up the way they did last week? Matt Ryan having a huge game and doing so without Jonathan Taylor.
I mean, that was amazing. Really bolstered the whole team. And I think the biggest thing was the protection. We always talk about protections, offensive line, running backs, quarterbacks, making the right calls. And, they looked on point. And we got some dynamic receivers, tight ends, skill position players. So, when the offense is humming, it's a real good day.
Speaking of running backs, Jonathan Taylor, how has he looked in practice this week? And I wonder, defensively, how much better does it make you guys going up against him in practice?
Big time. He's looked good. Going against him in practice, he's quick. Obviously, he's a big back and he's fast. He ran a 4.3. So it's a unique challenge. Really prepares us for any back in the league. But when he's playing well in the game, our offense is staying on the field for a long time, keeping our defense fresh. So when we go out there, we can strike, hopefully 3 and out, and get the offense back on the field.
Hey, Bobby, one sidebar. Your former Stanford teammate, Christian McCaffrey, just got traded to the Bay Area last night. With the Panthers moving him there, I mean, how tough was it to go against him in practice every single day in college? And how much more dangerous does he make the Niners if he stays on the field?
Yeah, I mean, he's an elite, dynamic player, if not one of the most elite dynamic players in the league, just from a speed, quickness, acceleration standpoint. And like they say, iron sharpens iron, so going against him in practice, I remember my rookie year, I want to say it was week 12, week 13 maybe, we went up against him, and I was juiced up for that game because it was another opportunity to test myself against a great player. So, I wish him the best. Obviously, he's going to do real well in the Bay. It's familiar territory at Stanford, so I'm excited for him.
Hey, Bobby, speaking of Stanford, your journey to the NFL really starts with your parents, Kingsley and Sandra, who emigrated from Nigeria. Since you wound up attending Stanford, how much of your parents' stress was about education growing up as compared to athletics?
That was the emphasis. I didn't start playing football until high school. And I remember my junior year, I got my first offer and told my parents, hey, I got an offer from UW. They weren't really aware of what that was. They were like, what's an offer? And I was like, it's a full scholarship to play football. So, there was no real understanding about, playing football, professional level, even college level. For them, it was always, get a good education, go to Ivy League school, and just get a good job. So Stanford kind of provided the best of both worlds for me, to play football and get a great education.
It really is amazing. For those who do not know, like when you were growing up, did you not think about football? Did they not allow you to play football? It is amazing that you started as late as you did and you are where you are right now.
Yeah, they didn't let me. I was playing baseball, and, parents would always come up like, hey, we got to get Bobby on the Pop Warner team. Like, he's a good athlete. But, my parents, I'm from Nigeria, all they knew was soccer. So they didn't really care too much about football. And even freshman year when I started playing, they didn't really go to the games. It was kind of just like, all right, like as long as his grades are good, we'll let him do what he wants. But yeah, football's always been, my ticket to freedom. And playing well has always put me in a good position.
Bobby, so did you like baseball? Like, I'm in Orange County too, and both our kids played baseball, so I know that system pretty well. Did you like baseball, and were you playing travel ball? Were you playing pony? What was your baseball background?
Yeah, I like baseball. I was playing in Tustin Western Little League. I think I led my majors in home runs. I had like 6 or something my senior year. But I played a little pony, and then I played freshman year of high school. But came down to a decision where baseball coach was basically saying, if you want to be serious about baseball, you got to show up in the summer. And I was like, summer is right preseason, right before football. I'm showing up to football practice. I'm not showing up to baseball. That kind of prompted me to make the decision of just choosing football full time.
I get that. All right. So before you go, you're from Orange County here in Southern California, which is perceived to be a very affluent area. In a lot of ways, it is. But like every community, there are those in need. When you got to the Colts, you raised money for a nonprofit called Stand Up for Kids Orange County, which focuses on the problem of youth homelessness. I'm not being asked to ask this, but I want to ask this: why is that a cause that resonates so much with you?
Yeah, I think my background in the Boy Scouts of America. I did a lot of service projects over my time growing up, and that's been a big point of fulfillment for me. Just giving back, helping my community, community development. So when I had the opportunity to partner with that organization, it was big. I did some work with the Boys and Girls Club of Tustin this past off season. And, I'm just looking for ways to give back and give back to the community that helped me get to the position where I am right now.
I love that you keep mentioning Tustin because it really is not far from where I'm broadcasting from. Do you get back to the Tustin marketplace? Can you get back there, kind of kick it, hang out? What do you do?
Yeah, I do. I go back there. I'll see a couple movies sometimes. But I'm in that whole Orange County area. My agency's in Irvine. I train, hang out there. I got some of my buddies in Newport Beach. We'll run a spot out there. But, Orange County, Tustin is big-time home place for me.
Yeah, it is. I love it. It's great. Indianapolis got a big game coming up at Tennessee in Division Sunday, a CBS game, 1 p.m. Eastern. Bobby Okereke, my guest. Bobby, really appreciate you. Appreciate the relationship. Great to have you back, man. Thanks so much.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, Jim.
Yes, sir. Much respect. Bobby's great. Great dude, great player, great head. Big fan. Big fan.